surplus, what are the strategies required, and how we can integrate our individual economies with the high end of global supply production. So first of all, I would request our keynote speaker, Air Vice Marshal Asad Ikram, DG Avid Pakistan Air Force. Sir, please come on the podium and share your insights with us. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum and a very good afternoon. I'll be sharing with you some thoughts and the plans of the Pakistan government on building an aerospace or aviation industry. I'm sure this effort, this endeavor has in it a lot of things for people of all different sectors. The first question you'd always like to ask is, why would you want to do something? Why would you want to build an aviation industry? I'll cover that, followed by the objectives that we have set, our strategy, the elements, and finally a summary. So 3 different reasons you want to do an aviation industry. It could be for national pride. Your enemy or your competitor is also building an aircraft maybe. To have technological independence. And then the most important part that a lot of countries overlook are the market opportunities. But whatever the reasons may be, there are a lot of benefits ranging from human resource development, employment, opportunities, improvement in the economy, technological growth that leads to spin-offs for other sectors as well. To have a look at the global aviation market, it's expected to be $6.1 trillion by 2035. In the Asia-Pacific region, that's 2.5 trillion. Similarly, the tactical combat aircraft market is about 30 billion US dollars. On the unmanned aircraft systems, it's close to about 8 billion US dollars. And this is the type of future aviation systems, both military and civil, that we're supposed to be looking at. So the objectives that we have set are to be able to capture a part of this global aviation market. And for this, we have to evolve a strategy to create an enabling environment based on our existing capabilities, and by filling in gaps in the capabilities and training regimens in order to maximize utilization of the existing resources, enhance the range of solutions offered, increase marketability, and of course, develop future aviation systems. So our strategy is to bring the different elements at one place, which we call the aviation city, Camera. And these are the different elements. And I'll cover one of them, each one of them. The most important reason for choosing Camera is because it's very strategically placed. It's close to the federal capital, the leading engineering universities all around, and it's next to a lot of high-tech industrial complexes. And it is also on the gateway to CPEC. The Pakistan Aeronautical Complex happens to be at the core of all this. Established in the 1970s under the Ministry of Defense Production, it started off with the primary role of maintaining, repairing, and overhauling aircraft with Pakistan Air Force, its avionics and radars. But then it has evolved now into a leading aircraft and UAV manufacturing facility and a certified parts supplier for Boeing, Saab, and Turkish aircraft industry. Right now it has 4 factories: the aircraft rebuild factory, the Mirage rebuild factory, avionics production factory, and the aircraft manufacturing factory. All of them carrying out different jobs related to the aviation industry. So far, they have overhauled as many as 1,000 aircraft. The Air Force recently bought the AW139 helicopter, which also happens to be in use of the Pakistan Army and a lot of other users in our region. And we are now going to develop a regional maintenance center. We have at PSC large-size machining capability along with trained HR that can undertake very large-size machining for the aviation industry. We also undertake aircraft modifications related to avionics and even air-to-air refueling. We have a state-of-the-art aircraft engine overhaul capability that overhauls engines of Western and Chinese origins. And this facility saves millions of dollars in foreign exchange, ensures high availability and serviceability of the Pakistan Air Force fleet, and now we've also got into overhaul of gas turbines for the power sector. Similarly, we have facilities for ground radars overall. Avionics production. We produce nearly 80% of the avionics for the F-17 aircraft. We also undertake avionics integration. We have the capability of modifying the mission avionics for the F-17 aircraft, and we can do similar stuff for other platforms as well. The aircraft manufacturing factory does UAV production, the Super Moshak production, I'm sorry, this seems to be a slow laptop. And also producing the F-17 aircraft. I'll go through the slides slightly faster now. The next element is the design and research capability that we're developing. We have established an organization by the name of AVRID to undertake collaboration with R&D labs, the PSC factories, the private industry, and the academia. And the goal is to be able to do different tiers of the supply chain for the aviation industry within the private sector, which happens to be non-existent in our country. We have put in PhDs from top-ranked universities, and we're following an incremental growth of technology approach. We're collaborating with the public as well as the private sector, and most importantly, the academia. We're also working with the Planning Commission and the HEC. Different core technologies and labs are being established to undertake different projects for the Air Force and also for commercial applications. And we have established a number of collaborations with industry and academia in a very short span of just a year. Next element is the academia. It's important for industry to survive to have both applied engineering and vocational training, for which we identified key specialty areas, and we're working with the academia to undertake programs in these areas. We started off a PhD program in aeronautical engineering last year, and we have a new campus of the Air University coming up at PSC Camera that would offer both undergrad and MS programs. Similarly, the PSC Institute of Training has been revamped to undertake training of technicians in different disciplines. We are collaborating with the Center of Aviation at IST to provide B1, B2 training for maintenance operations. It's very important to have certification of all the products and services that you do. For this, a Pakistan Air Force certification agency has been established, which happens to be the 5th in the world, which provides different services This helps us to market our products internationally. We are working to develop the national private industry because we believe that to be the backbone of the economy. For this, a business-friendly environment has to be enabled, for which a National Aerospace and Science and Technology Park has been approved by the Government of Pakistan. It would also include special economic zones to attract national and international companies. A number of companies have already shown interest, and we have offered, in fact, we already are accommodating a few companies within the PSC complex. In order to utilize the capabilities that we already have, we looked at the global MRO business, which happens to be $75 billion, and is projected to become 109 by 2027. For this, a commercial MRO is being established at the new Islamabad International Airport. The HR training is in progress, and we plan to have our operations commencing in June 2020. Similarly, we are working with a number of companies to establish an aviation logistics hub close to the national airport, and later to have an expo center and to conduct international air shows. Now, for all this, it's important to have a very good working and living environment, for which an integrated master plan is being made. And this is where opportunities are in abundance for people in industry, in marketing, in maintenance overall, even in real estate. To summarize, the development of an aviation industry is essential. The market outlook at this point in time offers a very good opportunity. The existing capabilities, we believe, can be effectively harmonized. We have had a very positive response from the local industry and the academia. The chances of success are very high. I'd like to take this opportunity to invite our Egyptian partners to come and work with us in the different areas of the aviation city Camera. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Air Vice Marshal. Ladies and gentlemen, as we know, the 80% of globe's trade is being settled through various supply chains and global value chains, and several developing countries and some of the emerging market economies like Pakistan and Egypt, we have been not able to fully connect it or not to be able to connect it to the higher end of those global value chains. So all this connectivity endeavor, if it is not ending up in getting this benefit, this is the lifeblood of this whole connectivity thing. So nothing suits much more than Mr. Iftikhar Shilwani. I request the gentleman to come on stage and share with us what Government of Pakistan has done in this regard. He is representing the Ministry of Industries, Additional Secretary Mr. Iftikhar Shilwani. I would also request my distinguished speakers, we have been very squeezed on the timelines, so kindly make it as brief as possible. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shazia. Assalamu alaikum, a very good afternoon. Distinguished guests from the Egyptian government, distinguished delegates from Pakistan, my fellow colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, assalamu alaikum. First of all, on behalf of the Ministry of Industries, I would like to felicitate the esteemed organization SASI and the Egyptian government and the Pakistani mission here to have organized this forum, which has given us the opportunity to work together with the Egyptian government on the win-win situation that what we have and what we can achieve. As far as industrial development is concerned, I would just say, and we all know that the secret of what China is right now, what Thailand is, what Malaysia is, that was the development of their industrial economic zones. We have followed that lead, both Egypt, Pakistan, and other countries in the region. But why we have lagged behind? On that, I know 7 minutes is too short a period, but I would just say that we all, the countries, especially our country, and of course, I'm in Egypt, it's very heartening to see they already have a Ministry of Trade, Industry and Trade, which is like an integrated department. For we, I think the Pakistan will take a cue from the Egyptian government on that. And what we need, and we are about to do with the onset of the new government, that we have an advisor to the Prime Minister who is in charge of the Ministry of Commerce, who is in charge of the Ministry of Industries, and Board of Investment as well. So what we are planning to do is to have an integrated industrial policy where all these ministries will not be working in their own silos. So it will be integrated, that if we want to develop an industrial zone, there will be the Ministry of Power, will be the Board of Investment, who will sit with us and together, so that when any industrialist want to invest or any investor want to come to Pakistan, they are sure about that they will have the energy, they will have the gas, they will have the water. And we all know that the present government in Pakistan has taken a great initiative to clear and to redeem its measures to recuperate from the water shortage that we have in our country. Secondly, as I would say, between the Egypt and Pakistan, and what Egypt has, and I would just compare Suez Canal with another region of the world, which is South America. So we have two canals in this world which have reduced the trade routes and which has really helped us in increasing the trade. One is the Panama Canal in South America, which links Atlantic Ocean to the Pacific Ocean. That is a great canal. And then we have the Suez, which is linking Red Sea to the Mediterranean Sea. So that shortening of trade routes is a big impetus to increase trade in this world. And what I firmly believe, that if we have advantage and we have the comparative advantage to boost trade according to our own trade infrastructure, which we can boost, I think we can really make a big headway into that. Secondly, about the cluster development that the government of Pakistan is doing, that we are trying to inculcate on the CPAC all the cluster development of the industries which will complement each other. So if we have automobile industry, so we have the tire industry, then we have a thin metal sheet industry. So that will be a cluster development that we are planning to do through the new industrial policy, the industries which will complement each other. We already have a lot of investors from China, we are negotiating with Thailand, we are negotiating even with Russia on that matter, that we should have those cluster development. And the CPAC, as it has been already clarified, that it is not only between China and Pakistan, we need third parties, we need third member countries to come and invest, because this is a big opportunity for us. Secondly, we really need the whole, the development paradigm shift, that how can we just move. We have comparative advantage. Pakistan is an agricultural country, and we do have that, I would say, advantage to boost our seed industry, I would say, agricultural, in our vegetable industry, the fruit industry, and then the supply chain that has to be developed. And with that, we are closely working with the Ministry of Commerce to develop supply chain so that they go into the branded opportunity. For that, I would say, like leather industry, Pakistan has a huge leather industry. We have very good manufacturing quality. But when it goes to the international market, it does not carry a brand name. So yeah, I have 2 minutes here. So if we have the best quality leather, and it is perfectly designed, but when it goes to Paris, it goes to London, nobody will buy it because it doesn't have a name, it doesn't have a brand. So that's what we plan to do, that with the quality, we have to do the branding, and we have to link ourselves with the global supply chains. And then, last but not the least, Egypt, it survives, its economy is based on tourism. And of course, the second is, I would say, the Suez Canal and the global transit trade and what it gains through it. Pakistan definitely has a big tourism potential. But what we are now achieving and trying to achieve, as the gentleman and my senior officers already presented before in the previous sessions, that we had the handicap of the security problem, but now we have overcome that. And I would request all the people in this region, please come to Pakistan, and because now we have a proper secured region and we are developing domestic tourism, and we would like to have, I won't say international tourism that a lot of people from Europe, Canada, or America would come, but at least our regional power from the Middle East, they should come to Pakistan, and they would really can boost our tourism industry. And of course, the trade transition, we already have transit trade, which we do with Afghanistan, and now we are negotiating a lot of things with Iran as well. So that is one option that we already have. As far as I already mentioned, industrial development is the keystone for any country's development. And until and unless we do it to our advantage, and we do it where we have the competitive advantage, we will not be. And I hope this is a great forum to make new bonds, to make new development paradigm shifts between Egypt and Pakistan and our regional friends as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shilwani Saad, for your insights. My next speaker is distinguished Dr. V. G. Yang, the Senior Research Fellow with China State Council, and he'll be sharing his experiences, how China got integrated to the high-end global value chains and production chains. So I request my next speaker, Dr. V. Please come on podium, sir.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I'm very happy to be here and to share my points about the new industrial revolution and industry upgrading for China, Pakistan, and Egypt. If we want to answer this question, we think we must know what is the world situation. I think the world shows some characters. The world is flight because globalization. The world is new because change and innovation. The world is green because environment. The world is fast because of the competition. The world is simple because we must more best experience. And we're also facing many trends. We're facing industrialization, we're facing digitalization, globalization, urbanization, greenization, and other trends. And all these trends and the changing world make the different structure. The structure of the demand, the structure of the supply, the structure of the production, of the technology, the structure of time and space and business and model, all this make a big difference. So every country is facing many challenges and also facing many opportunities, and we're also facing many uncertainty. So we must to design the strategy for the future, whether company, whether personal, whether country. So I think we must to make a big strategy for the future. The world is new because of the changing and the progress of technology. So the new industrial revolution is coming near. What is the character of the new industrial revolution? I think the digitalization with combined with the production, circulation, consumption, finance, and promote production revolutionary, circulation revolutionary, logistic revolutionary, transportation revolutionary, and finance revolutionary. And not only digitalization, but also include high-end manufacturing industry development, and new material industry development, a new biology industry development, new energy and energy saving industry also should develop. So this is include many aspects. What is the character of the digitalization? I think digitalization's character includes such aspects. For example, as a user as a center, and mutual connectivity. This connectivity includes infrastructure connectivity, organization connectivity, process connectivity, people, goods, service connectivity. Everything is connectivity. And the data become a new production factors, and the digital infrastructure, for example, IoT, Internet of Things, Internet, AI, blockchain, all these support a new infrastructure. And everything is service. And supply chain was integrated. And we should develop a new ecology system for industry development. So, whereas a developed country, all developing country making a strategy, for example, America to carry out new advanced industry development and carry out American innovation strategy. China also made in China 2025, UK 2050, UK manufacturing industry development, and France, and India, and Korea, Japan, all these countries to carry out a new strategy. China, in this background, and with China's reform and opening, China experienced fast growth in the past 40 years. Although in recent 2-3 years, China's economy slowed down, but until now, China keep very stable and very good performance in economic growth. And nowadays, China become the world's largest manufacturing industry country. And China also become the world's largest transportation and logistics market country. And China also become the world's largest energy consumption country. And China also become the world's largest e-commerce country. So China have many goods ranked #1 in the world. And look, if we're looking forward to the future, this is a picture from the OECD report. OECD report 2060, the world situation. In PPP, China in 2030, China's GDP growth covers 28% of the global proportion. And in the 2060, China also ranks #1 in the world. So China will become the world's largest economy. And not only China become the world's largest economy, China also will contribute the most middle class. So China, the middle class will promote consumer structure and production structure adjustment. And China also will become the world's largest trade center. In the past 40 years, United States is the only one circulation harbor in the world. But in 2030, China become the world's largest circulation harbor. China and America, China and Japan, China and Germany, China and Korea, China and India, the trade volume will rank #1 to #5. So China will accumulate people flow, goods flow, material flow, information flow, technology flow, and allocation all kinds of resources and send it to the outside world. So B&R, China also will promote B&R and will construct 6 economic corridor. So in this background, China want to upgrade and transformation in industry. We set up Made in China 2025. We will improve our quality of managed goods, but not only improve quality, we will digitalization our manufacturing system, and we will let manufacture as a service, and we will green our manufacturing, and we will connect global market to allocation resources. So how to not only upgrade our manufacturing system, we will upgrade our service sector. We will develop a very complete system, but we will improve our efficiency and quality. We will not only develop our physical service, but we will develop online service. We will establish our global supply chain to supply China's global strategy. So how Pakistan upgrade industry? I think we should fasten IPEX to upgrade transportation system, logistics system, supply chain system, to upgrade energy system, to upgrade financial system, also upgrade trade system. And we should develop China and Pakistan industry park, and to develop China-Pakistan economy, a special role, and to upgrade industry cluster, and to optimize economic structure. And also we will development service system, and we also will connect China and Pakistan's education, science, technology, especially training language between people. And I think Pakistan need a more open and more inclusive and more friendly business environment. I think China and Pakistan can set up a partnership among the new industry revolution. And how Egypt to upgrade the industry? I think China and Egypt should strengthen connectivity. Especially, I think Egypt can use China's high technology to improve traditional industry and to foster new emerging system. And also, I think Egypt need a new manufacturing system. And I think we can, along Suez Canal, to set up China-Egypt manufacturing or industry park or logistics center. And China and Egypt can bigger good cooperation in new industry revolution. And I think Egypt need a reform and a more open, more inclusive, more stable environment to support development. That's my point. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Wei, and I appreciate my speakers to try to compress their ideas within those 7 minutes, which is really difficult things to do, but a lot of appreciation for you this. My next speaker is respectable Dr. Ala S. He is representing Federation of Chambers of Commerce, Egypt, and he will be sharing how Egyptian industrial people are ready to take this new challenge resulting from all the connectivity and infrastructure drive. So please, I request Dr. Ala to come on podium and share his insights.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. I'll try to do the marathon in less than 7 minutes, so I'll bypass lots of what I had to say, but one starting point: governments see problems, business sees opportunities, and this is the modus operandi of what I have to say. I will skip the economic part because time will not permit, and I'll stick to 4 messages I need to highlight. So let's forget the reforms. Okay. What does Egypt offer to Pakistan? Egypt we consider the land of opportunities, whether we're talking about trade, talking about investment, whether greenfield or cooperating with existing private sector, or our mega projects. And let's not forget that Egypt is 100 million consumers. However, more important is Egypt is the crossroad of trade, located in the middle of all trade routes, but most important, the Egyptian market is 2.1 billion consumers. This is through our free trade areas with the European Union, the EFTA, the COMESA, the Mercosur, United States through the QIZ, Turkey, and the tripartite FTA with the rest of Africa, and we're concluding the Euro-Asian with Russia, Kazakhstan, Belarus, and others. But more important, easy access to these markets. And I think this is echoing what was said by our Chinese friends. So what we propose is a two-way approach. We increase bilateral trade. However, more important is to increase trilateral cooperation, where Egypt uses Pakistan as a hub to cater to the region, and Pakistan uses Egypt as a hub. Let's not forget that in Sharm el-Sheikh 2 years ago, we signed the free trade agreement for half of Africa, 26 countries, GDP 1 trillion, and purchasing power by 2020, 1.4 trillion. And this is a golden opportunity, and more important, we have the ways to reach them, and you have no other way to reach them directly, because most of them are landlocked countries. So using the Alexandria-Cape Town road, as well as the Halayb-Dakar superhighway, this is how can you reach these markets, and utilizing the hub ports that are being established all around Africa. And here I thank the Belt and Road Initiative that's working very fast and very hard on creating these hub ports. So what we offer to foreign companies, all our partners worldwide, whether it's Pakistan, whether it's China, whether it's USA, they come with investments. I don't care much about it, but technologies, components, inputs, training, know-how to Egypt for final assembly, formulation, and most important, Arabization, if we're talking about ICT and software and technology, to cater to this 2.1 billion consumer market all around our region. And let's not forget we have an excellent IPR law, so royalty is guaranteed and goes back. What we're looking at is linking Asia and Europe, and this is our role. So besides Africa, you have to look north into Europe, and looking back to Asia, especially the Arab component that's localized in Asia. And as was mentioned, the Belt and Road, I had the privilege of attending its launch, as well as being in the Africa-China Summit, where President Xi, during our meeting with him, has highlighted several initiatives that will be done for Egypt. First, this map, where it's just passing by Egypt, it has to stop in Egypt, and that's the most important. So cooperation is not only in manufacturing and value-added trade and logistics, but also in oil and gas, where we'll be linking our hubs. So key areas for development along the Silk Route would be new augmented energy and trade flows between Pakistan and Egypt through Gaudar Port and the Suez Canal, as well as expansion of value-added energy-related businesses, facilitating FDI from China and the Arab world, and let's not forget our Arab funds and our Arab neighbors, jointly into third countries, and creating the value-added trade hubs and value chains, both financial and, more important, physical, and generating regional and global public goods. So what we offer in that perspective is the Suez Canal corridor, where I will not elaborate or dwell on it since there was a session about it. Working in manufacturing and take it from down up. We look at quality control cooperation, management vocational training, technology transfer, buyback agreements, feeding industries where we cater to the region, subcontracting, modernization of key industries we've been discussing today, textiles and petrochemicals, co-manufacturing, and then automatically joint ventures and greenfield will come. I'll just wrap up with the couple of minutes remaining with nobody's asking for money. We have 554 billion euros of grants, technical assistance, and soft loans available for doing business in Egypt. Thanks to our friends in USAID, US Exim, JICA, EIB, all multilateral and bilateral FDIs, and you can download this from our website, the whole list of each one of these instruments with its details and how to use it. Moreover, doing business with Egypt is not boring. Like Pakistan, we have history, culture, and tradition, nice place to be at, and lots of companies, here are world leaders that you recognize, who did not come to do business in Egypt. They made it the regional hub to cater for Africa and the Middle East. No wonder that we were #1 in the Middle East, and together we can maintain the lead. And we invite you to guide your companies on the path of these pioneers who are today reaping the fruit of their early arrivals. And let me close using a piece of ancient Egyptian wisdom. Come to Egypt in a tradition that's summarized in these words. Rig your boat, travel near and far, look for a wise partner, knock his door, seek his knowledge, welcome in your home. This is how your people will prosper. This was said by King Amenhotep 4,500 years ago to the head of his commercial fleet. You came today in this spirit, and we as Federation of Egyptian Chambers, representing our 4.3 million members, we will return the visit, knock your door, seek your knowledge, and welcome you in our home. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ala, for your very interesting insights. Our next speaker, Mr. Mazhar Ali Nasser, Senior Vice President, Federation of Chamber of Commerce Industry and Pakistan, is rightly positioned in the queue to, link up the dots where Dr. Ala has just said. So I invite Mr. Mazhar Ali Shah to please come on the podium and share his observations. Thank you.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Distinguished guest participants, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum. I was just telling Dr. Ayers if I was just before him, it would have been better for me. I was just meeting him briefly this morning, and I told him that We have a pending MOU to work on, and I think we will be doing that in February this year, next year, inshallah. I was going to talk on digitalization, but I think for me, Mufti Saab, I think Lahore Police and somebody else was talking on it, so I'm going to skip through the whole thing and get to a couple of other things that I had in mind. When we talk about digitalization, we talk about the internet, we talk about how things are happening. So let me skim through the whole thing. I'm just going to go through a couple of things. We all know that internet started in the 50s, went up till the 70s, and we're talking about a $2.8 trillion market. But then when we talk about figures, we look at China, which is about how much? A $600 billion market. We look at the US, which is about a $460 billion market, and then we look at India, which is a $25 billion market. When we look at Pakistan, we're looking at a potential of $1 billion by 2020. So we're looking at the opportunity of investing in Pakistan. We're looking at the opportunity, like you were mentioning, that how we can invest in Pakistan or in Egypt. I'm going to focus now directly into Egypt or in investment into Pakistan. So when we talk about digitalization, we're talking about how China has invested and acquired Daraz in Pakistan. Alibaba has taken over, and one of the sales for one day was $27 million. So that's the kind of digitalization I'm talking about. I'm talking about we don't need to invent the wheel. I'm talking about how ease of doing business can be brought down by digitalization. I'm talking about how we need to think out of the box. The wheel has already been invented. We do not need to do anything further. We just need to think out of the box. Somebody was talking about capitalization. We need to come up with new, unique ideas. We have Uber, who does not own any cars. We have Airbnb, the biggest places where they do not have any hotels in the world. So we need to come up with ideas how to move forward. When we talk about Pakistan and we talk about CPEC as we speak, we're talking about an opportunity, and then we talk about digitalization. Ladies and gentlemen, when we're talking about digitalization, the only thing that comes to our mind is the internet, Facebook, WhatsApp, Twitter, and that's not the only thing. We're talking about how we can use this to our advantage. We're talking about how Egypt and Pakistan can move forward into this realm of activities. At this moment in time, if I was to ask you, what are the opportunities in Pakistan and what products to go into, I'm sure none of you wouldn't be knowing more than 2 or 3 products, except for textiles perhaps. And if you were to ask businessmen in Pakistan, what are the products we can export to Egypt, I'm sure apart from 1 or 2, there will be none. So what are the things that we have done at our end? From the Federation of Pakistan's point of view, we've entered into agreement with TRG, one of the largest companies, where we have come up with a software where we are coming up with a B2B software where all the companies in Pakistan having export potential will be on that, on your smartphone. So wherever you are in the world, all you need to do is come up with the product that you want to buy, and we will provide you with a virtual B2B. By next year, you will be having this service from the Federation across Pakistan through all chambers, all associations. Signing an MOU, I think that has also become something of the past. We like doing that a lot. We have a lot of MOUs. I think you must be having quite a few filed up, a lot of photographs that we have. But we need to move forward. We need to move forward in a way that when we come up with a meeting or an agenda, we actually have people where we can connect. Quite a few people asked me about opportunities in Pakistan, which means there is a lot of lack of knowledge. It does not mean that we're not doing our work. It means that we need to move faster, at a faster pace. Somebody was talking about the kind of things we can do in 1 minute. The idea is the quality of work that needs to be done. The idea is how we take and process those things in a better way. In Pakistan today, we're talking about one window operations. Today we're talking about, I think the Ministry of Commerce was talking about how we're taking BOI, how we're talking about different aspects of the government to sit on one table and bring things together. The idea is to make communication faster and together in one table. This is what we are doing. And the idea for us is, from a business point of view, to sit together, to collaborate, and to Don't worry, I'll be finishing very fast. So the thing is, we need to utilize the digital information to our advantage. The policymakers are sitting around us. It is the business that needs to move forward. It is the digitalization that needs to move forward. From a government point of view, one of the issues that we have is cost of doing business. From the government point of view, we've always had issues with ease of doing business. I think after the government's initiative of the 2018 digital policy, we see a lot of changes happening within this year. And I believe that it will be happening in the years to come also. What we need to do is take advantage of this situation, bring the costs down and move towards the world. I was going to talk about TAFTA because that is one of the things that was on the agenda, but you've brought it up, and I think that is something we will discuss further, I think after this meeting also. And this is where we need to work together. Look at 10 products from each side. Let's see how we can work on just 10 products. See how we can work, bring marriage to people on the table, bring things together, take advantage of this meeting of today, and before February's meeting, see how we can collaborate and move things forward from here. Thank you very much.
My next speaker is Mr. Muhammad Yusuf. He is Executive Director of Egyptian Business Association. So I would like to invite you, sir, to please come on podium and share your views with us. Mr. Muhammad Yusuf.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Let me first, on behalf of Engineer Ali Isa, Chairman of Egyptian Business Association, to express his sincere gratitude to be among such a very distinguished gathering and such a very important event. Let me first start by briefing in 1 minute about Egyptian Business Association, which started in 1979 to pave the way and unify the effort of the business community to leading the economy of Egypt and to be the locomotive of the Egyptian economy. We have 450 members who cover all type of business, all sectors, who run and own more than 1,300 companies, which also include auditors, lawyers, bankers, under the umbrella of EBA, which means we have the complete cycle of doing business under the umbrella. We're always keen to have the think tank of the Egyptian economy under our umbrella to talk strategically and to help and support the policymaker to take the necessary action for better business environment. Regarding Egyptian economy, I'm not going through a lot of figures because I know that yesterday the governmental authorities already covered this part, but let me share with you some important figures. In 2010, Egyptian economy was relying on certain sectors like tourism, Suez Canal revenue, foreign direct investment. But what happened after that? In 2011, after the first revolution, Egyptian economy started to be collapsed. And from this point, we start to review our economic structure, and it should be a little bit changed. We need to have a sustainable development. We need to have a sustainable economy, which we would never be able to realize it without having a strong industrial base. And this is what we start to work with. You know that the industrial and manufacturing sector represent 15.6% of our GDP, with 2% growth annually, and the share of the private sector is almost 70%. Is that meet our ambitions? Definitely no. Is that reflect our capabilities? Definitely no. From this point, governments start to take some necessary actions. Issuing a new investment law, new industrial license law, and start to establishing industrial economic zones. And I believe one of the most famous industrial economic zones that we have is a Chinese economic zone with almost 6 million square meters in Suez Canal corridor. Ladies and gentlemen, let me exchange with you some thoughts. Definitely, Belt and Road Initiative is the initiative of this century. Definitely, Egypt and Pakistan consider key players in such initiative. But it's our duty, that's our role, to pay more effort, to build our industrial and logistic capacity to gain benefit from this initiative. It's really something we are not happy with, that the foreign direct investment to Egypt doesn't exceed 7.8 billion US dollar this year, and also for Pakistan it's almost 2.8 billion dollars. As far China as the largest investor abroad, which invests more than 130 billion dollar every year, we should be point of attraction for the investments that flow all over the world. Definitely, Egypt has the longest corridor borders with the initiative, with almost 2,000 kilometers all over the Red Sea, could have the capability and the ability and the cooperation and the partnership with Pakistan to enhance and to improve our ports and our logistic part together. I believe this visit is a very important and strong springboard to our economic and trade relations and industrial relations. We should seize this opportunity. We shouldn't stop here. We should continue. I would like to thank Pakistan, the government, the civil society, people of Pakistan, the university, for having this event here in Egypt. And let's work on that. Let's join forces together. And it will be our pleasure as EBA to join forces with the Federation Chamber of Commerce from Egypt and Chamber of Commerce from Pakistan to work closely for better future for all of us. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir. My next speaker, Mr. Nadir Shah, represents Anglo Pakistan, one of the very successful business enterprise of the country, and he'll be sharing Pakistani businessmen's perspective and preparedness, to coordinate with their Egyptian counterpart to harness the newly arrived or created business potential. So I invite Mr. Nadir Shah, so please come on the podium and share your views. Thank you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, first things first, my name is Nadir Qureshi. It's not Nadir Shah, it's a typo. But it is a great privilege and honor for us to be here. So for us, this is a historic moment because we're looking to actively invest in Egypt. By way of introduction, Engro Group is the largest diversified conglomerate in Pakistan. We have an over 50-year history, and in the interest of time, I'm not going to go through slides. I will just present you who we are and what we aim to do in Egypt. That's okay. So Engro's been around for over 50 years. We are in a number of sectors that are key parts of the Pakistan economy. The business was started in the fertilizer sector, and that's still our largest business. We were the first urea fertilizer manufacturer in the country. We're in food, we're in mining, we're in power, We're the largest petrochemical player and the sole manufacturer of PVC in the country, and we have chemicals terminaling business, both with hazardous chemicals as well as the first LNG terminal in the country. So Engro overall is about $1.3 billion in sales, about the same in market cap. And what's important for this audience is that we have $500 million of investable surplus that we are trying to find a home for. And for us, Egypt seems to be a very natural starting point, given that Egypt has privileged access to competitively priced gas. It has an absolutely unparalleled location in the global supply chain, and it has great complementarities in terms of the expertise and the market opportunity that we have learned and honed in Pakistan and that we would like to bring to Egypt. I'll just, so we've talked about this, I'll just be brief. What's interesting is to understand Engro's history and who we are. So we were actually a company that was started in 1965 by Exxon, when it used to be in the fertilizer business. And there was a gas find, and Exxon started a fertilizer business off that gas find, and that was our original business. But in the 1990s, Exxon decided to divest itself out of the fertilizer business, and it was the first management-led buyout in Pakistan. That happened in the early 90s. Once that happened, all the cash flow that used to leave Pakistan and go to the US was available to us for investment. And therein followed Engro's history, where we then, one after the other, invested in new businesses. So we are a history of firsts. First fertilizer company, first PVC company, first LNG terminal. Then we diversified in the foods business, and we built a brand locally that went head to head against Nestle and won. So we are a company that has built a capability in Pakistan of being able to attract the best people, really understanding a problem, and then a track record of execution. And therefore, that is the foundation that gives us confidence that after 50 years of becoming the largest diversified conglomerate in Pakistan, it is now time for us to go abroad. And from that perspective, having looked at the planet and looked at the business opportunities, for us, coming to Egypt would be the natural first step for diversification. So we're here to learn about Egypt, to learn about the ecosystem here, and it's been a fascinating 2 days learning about the opportunity set. But most importantly, as all such relationships go, is to form partnerships, to find, as Dr. Ala was saying, the right partner whose door we can knock on and whom we can invite into our home and who will invite us into his home, so we can form partnerships to develop mutually beneficial business opportunities. The thing that we're somewhat, I'd like to say we're proud of, is we have a history of partnership. In Pakistan, we are partnered with, we're privileged to partner with some of the leading, not only multilaterals, but also global MNCs who've partnered with us. So in our foods business, we are partners with Friesland Campina. In our chemicals terminaling business, we are partners with Royal Vopak. In our mining business, we are partners with CMEC. And then financially, IFC is our long-standing partner and is partners in several of our businesses. And we are partners, preferred partners for investment in Pakistan by the whole range of multilateral agencies. As you well know, Pakistan mirrors Egypt in some ways, where we are beneficiaries of multilaterals providing aids and grants, and we are their preferred partner. And the reason for that is twofold: a track record of execution and a standard of governance that we would like to think is unparalleled in the country. And that is what we're looking to do, bring that as well with us, because that is our DNA to Egypt, and partner with the right people who have the same values as us to develop business opportunities. With that, I will wrap up, and we'll be available later today to meet any people. But for us, this has been a fascinating 2 days. I think there is just a great deal that we can learn from partners in Egypt who would share our values and who would look to develop businesses. The two sectors that we're focused on right now is very much petrochemical. and the other is textile. So while Pakistan is our single largest export is textile, we don't have long staple cotton, which is something that you have in abundance in Egypt. And given your access to energy and connectivity, I think there is a natural opportunity to expand into that business. Petrochemicals is a business we really understand. We have core expertise in it. And we think that there, again, with Egypt's natural advantages of access to cheap gas, there is a huge opportunities for value addition in Egypt and in Pakistan to take an advantage of the One Belt, One Road project and manage that connectivity and build that global supply chain. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Qureshi Saab. Our next speaker is Mr. Usman Saifullah Khan, Vice Chairman of SAP Group of Companies. Sir, please come on podium and share your views with us.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, organizers. I'm grateful for this opportunity to speak here today and share with you. Really, I don't have a very long speech. It's really a story that I want to share with you, and it is the story of our investment in Egypt, a story that started in 2005. Before I start, if I could just request the Pakistanis in the audience, if you could just raise your hands so I have an idea of the mix. So I think we have a good mix of Pakistani and Egyptians and colleagues from other countries. I'll try to speak to everyone. The first step, the first point that I want to point out today is that we've spoken about the Suez Canal and about Gwadar and connectivity, but you know, if you have a lot of time on your hands, you travel by boat, but otherwise people travel by air. And the first thing, if there is one thing that we can do today, one outcome from this or from this event, it is that we should try and ensure there is a direct flight between Pakistan and Egypt. There is no direct flight between Cairo, Karachi, Cairo, Islamabad. So it's all very good. I'm sorry I'm not a diplomat. It's all very good to talk about connectivity and 70 years of links between us. But you know, the fact is, I can fly from Cairo, I can fly to New York, I can fly to Beijing, but I can't fly to Pakistan. So that's the first thing. We invested in Egypt because we had a partner who happened to invest in Pakistan. We were partners with Orascom, with Mr. Naguib Sawiris in Mobilink, which is Pakistan's largest cellular company, also in Pakistan's only private undersea cable, and now in a real estate project in Pakistan called 18. So he suggested to us in the early 2000s that why don't you look at Egypt? That's how we came here. For certain reasons, he couldn't participate with us in our venture here, but we ended up partnering with another well-known Egyptian businessman, Mr. Magad al-Manshawi, he's like a brother, and the picture that you see on the screen is actually a picture of the Mediterranean from the Corniche in Alexandria. And so from Islamabad, we ended up investing in the textile sector in Alexandria. Sorry. So we talk about greenfield projects. Well, here you have a greenfield. It's not very green, but this is what we started with. And this is in the Burj Al Arab Industrial Estate, which is near Alexandria. As you can see, we had we had a plot of land about 100,000 square meters. You can see the natural limestone wall that we constructed. As Pakistanis, for us, limestone was a very unusual material. So we wanted the exterior of the factory to be authentic and to be local, and so we used it for the wall. Here's a picture of me, 12 years younger than I am today, with our Egyptian contractor and some members of our board. So this is the textile value chain, ladies and gentlemen. It starts, we've used Italy to represent the consumer who, in our case, most of our exports are to the EU. And what we did is actually we relocated a production facility from Italy to Egypt. And we make some of the best shirting yarn in the world. We export to Europe, to 30 countries. We are the largest exporter of yarn from Egypt, and we use Egyptian cotton, which is really the world's best cotton, and you find our yarn in some of the best known brands in the world. Unfortunately, our own brand is not very well known. We are not a consumer brand, but if you're wearing a Lacoste t-shirt or a Xenia shirt, you're bound, there's a good probability that it may have our yarn in it. So why Egypt? I mean, we've heard Nader, our colleagues from the Egyptian federations have also spoken about this issue. This is not a typo. If you see, I've referred to Egypt as a European producer, because we generally believe that Egypt, because of its location, its proximity to Europe, it is effectively a European location with an emerging market kind of strength. The cost structure, you'd be surprised that today labor in Egypt is almost as cheap or as expensive as it is in Pakistan. You're as close to the major European markets almost as Turkey and Eastern Europe are. You've got a very, very large domestic market of 90, 100 million people. The capital markets, are very well developed. You've got good banks, you've got private equity, you can have an IPO. And very importantly, when we came here in 2005, you could actually borrow long-term in US dollars and in euros, which at that time was not possible in Pakistan. Government policies, we talk about one window operations. And I must say that GAFI, which is the General Authority for Free Zones in Egypt, we have been very happy in our experience with them. Generally, whenever there is a problem, we go to them and they try to solve it, and we don't have to deal with too many other government agencies. It took us 30 months from the license to operations. It was complicated because we were new in this country. We had to find our way around. But what I have seen, at least in our experience, that in Egypt, there's a lot of things you have to do before the project commences in terms of regulatory licenses and other things. But then once you are in production, generally, there's not a lot of interaction that you have in terms of problems with government and other agencies. What are some lessons that we've learned? Well, like Pakistan, I think again it's very similar to Pakistan. And when I say the government is a large player in business, I mean that the government can impact your business. It can be beneficial in terms of the policies, your export subsidies, GAFI, as I mentioned. But it's slow, and of course there are issues. You can face issues if there are political changes. We invested in Egypt just before possibly the biggest downturn in economic history globally. We came into production in 2008. The global economy crashed. 2011, we had the first revolution in Egypt. I was here in February 2011, really a month after the revolution, when these hotels, the lights in the receptions used to be off. But we've been through possibly what is a very, very difficult time in Egyptian history, and we are still here. The other observation that I think is important to make, and as Dr. Ez also mentioned, that Egypt is a wonderful mix of East and West. And you can see it from the architecture, you can see it from the people, you can see it from the culture. And I think it's a very attractive location both for our customers and for producers for this reason, because you're strategically placed between east and west. It's like Pakistan, it's a very resilient people. You've had political upheavals, but you know, life goes on. 100 million people sleep at night peacefully. They get up in the morning, go about their jobs. And so that's another thing that's similar between our two countries. Today, this is, I am very proud, you know, alhamdulillah, that we are today the largest exporter of yarn from Egypt. And I'm very proud that there are two flags flying at our factory, the flag of Egypt and the flag of Pakistan. When I'm in Pakistan, I act as an ambassador for Egypt, and when I'm in Egypt, I act as an ambassador for Pakistan. And I think it's very important that people like Engro and other Pakistani businesses also seize this opportunity to come and invest in this country, and also that businessmen and leaders like Dr. Ez and Engineer Yusuf also come to Pakistan and give Pakistan a look and invest in our country. You can see, you know, where there was a green field and nothing, now you have activity. There's another picture of the inside. And so managing through adversity, when you're investing in a foreign country, there are risks. If you invest in Pakistan, there are risks. If you invest here, there are risks. If you invest in China, there are risks. But you know, you have to be able to deal with them. We had a strike in 2012 after the revolution. We were shut down for 8 months. We had serious problems, but we managed to come through it. Today we employ 800 Egyptian, we have 800 Egyptian employees. We have 70 Pakistani employees. We have customers in more than 30 countries. And as I said, since our production, since our operations, we've exported more than $300 million of yarn from Egypt. So with that, I'd like to thank you, and in my personal capacity, I remain available to Pakistani colleagues and also to Egyptian colleagues who may be interested in knowing more about the other country and our experience. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Usman Khan Saab. Our next speaker and our last speaker, who is also sitting on the last chair in the arrangement, is Mr. Wahaj Tanveer. He is representing the Regent Farms, and he'll be sharing how Pakistan and Egypt can collaborate in the real estate sector. So, sir, please come on podium and share your views with us.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here to talk about a dream that involves country's image building, its economic prosperity, and its positive engagement of the youth. Big dream indeed. I hope I would do justice in the time I am allotted. Pakistan and Egypt have a lot in common: Nile civilization, Indus civilization, the demographics of the two countries, the youth of both countries. The young population is above 60% in both countries, I believe, somebody mentioned yesterday. And we also face similar challenges. How would both countries be married together in this dream? Aura Group, the SAF Group, has already embarked on this dream in Pakistan. They're already doing it in Egypt as well. And I would say a job well done by Tariq Hamdi, Mr. Naguib, Mr. Saifullah. Basically, I'm representing the Regent's Farms, so let me just clarify, I'm not representing Saifullah Group. So this Regent's Farms and Theme Park project, which we have in Islamabad, Pakistan, it involves facilities like theme park, aquatic park, golf courses, Grand Prix racing circuit, riding club and shooting club, aquarium, and much, much more. Real estate business really inculcates the money coming into the lower strata of life, the lower strata of the society. When they come, they get the job, and the money is spread over the different stratas of the society. So basic idea is what? To have the real estate projects being done in Egypt as well as in Pakistan, collaborate so that we create different employment opportunities, and also provide healthy recreational activities to the youth of both countries. No, it's okay. It's playing. That's fine. Yeah. So yeah, as I was saying, so the idea is to create the opportunity, give the opportunities to the youth to engage them in healthy activities that would keep their to engage their vigor and exuberance, and also build the soft image of the country. And I would like to take this opportunity also to invite the football team of Egypt to Pakistan, because I had the opportunity with Hashu Group last year to invite the Italian rugby team in Pakistan, which played an exhibition match with the Pakistan rugby team. So that's all from my end. And as I've been noticing this for the past, since yesterday, that the name of this thing is trade dialogue. It's more of a one-way thing. I would prefer that's a dialogue. So please, audience, you should have some questions to pick our brains. And that's about it from my end. This will play, I think. So let this finish, and thank you very much.